What's going on, everybody? Dogman Dan here. We are in Warframe, of course, and I want to share my thoughts and whatnot on this whole Operation Shadow Debt. Pretty much that the event is now come to an end. I'll give you my final thoughts. I'm sure this will probably give you some more information for the guys on console, maybe kind of like a what to expect and what not to expect and that type of stuff in that respect. And kind of how I went into it, and I want to kind of quickly talk about from both sides and whatnot. So, first off, let's just say that I never once experienced a problem at all. There was no host migration issues, there was no lag, I didn't fall through the map. None of that happened during this event at all, because if it had happened, I would have posted it somewhere in a video and told people that this was a problem that did occur. I mean, these things never happen in the game. So, just keep that in mind. That you're not going to fall through the map, you're not going to have host migration issues, you're not going to get lag, because this event, like all the others, runs smooth. Okay? Now, with that said, a couple good things, a couple bad things. I guess it all depends upon relatively how you take the event. It's definitely different than past events in terms of how it works. So we had the 20 new mods, right? You can get them by killing the acolytes, and if you didn't spend much time, as I didn't spend much time doing the main portion of the beginning portion of the event, I just kind of went through the first couple of stages that I needed to get through as quickly as possible, and that's mostly because I was working and I was traveling. For anyone that did know, I mean, I'd been gone for 2.5 weeks, sitting up in a hotel, working 10 hours a day for, non-stop for 2.5 weeks. So what time I had was just enough to get through the event. And there was even a couple of nights that I was with the guys in the clan, and they were dragging me through some of the missions just because I was just too tired. So in terms of time, they gave us lots of time to do the event, so that was a plus. Okay, I mean, what was it? The original one had like 8 days on it. The main part of the event, or this whole event in general, had like 8 days on it, and that was a good thing. Anyone could participate as long as you did the first portion of the event. You were eligible for the other 3 parts, where you could get the catalyst, where you could get the reactor, where you could get, or 4 parts where you could get the wraith, the Volcar wraith, where you can get the Lacera skin. Okay, so they did that right in that respect, that they gave a lot of time for people that didn't have a lot of time to get through it. Mod wise, when we're talking about the mods, there's a few things that you can think about in this. Okay, there's good and bad to this. Yes, 20 new mods introduced. Yes, they're utility-based mods, more or less, if you want to look at it that way. And you could really change things around with builds. And honestly, right now, I don't see too many of them changing my setups. However, and here's the small caveat in this. These are event mods, okay? Regardless of the fact that you had common and uncommon and rare. I didn't get the rares. I got a few mods. I didn't, like I said, I didn't have a lot of time, so I didn't get a lot of stuff, but I'm not overly concerned. However, the concern is, are these mods going to be available right after the event? Because on the flip side of this, if these mods are being used as a way to offset the changes that'll be coming in the Damage 3.0 when they change around, your Serration and your Hornet Strikes and your multi-shot mods and all that stuff. They change all that around, and these mods are required, if you will, to get the job done, to get the extra damage benefits, that type of stuff. And if they're not available in general public, then DE has fucked up the play style in an instant. Okay, the free-to-play model right out the door at that point, and there's no arguing at that. Because if you put these mods as an event mod, and then these mods are going to be utilizing the changes in the Damage 3.0, but they're not available to general players that come in after the event, players that didn't get to do the event, these players are going to be forced to either buy platinum in order to get them traded on the marketplace through the trade market. I don't care what anyone says. It's either going to be buying platinum or it's going to grind your ass off until you've got enough platinum to get it. Yes, you can get it without spending money. However, it changes the free-to-play base. Okay, it significantly changes it because now there's 20 mods that aren't available that are gonna force people, and people are gonna feel like they're being forced into having to do certain things that they wouldn't normally do in order to get them. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, this, that, and everything else. Hey, listen, I'm looking at the real side of this. You've got the yes, it's positive. You've got some new mods. They could be really good, or they could be really shit. It all depends upon how you play. And they could affect the new damage system, or they could not affect the new damage system. But if at a base they are going to affect the new damage system, there's going to be an issue with that, and they're not available in game on a general basis to farm. I don't care how they implement the acolytes. If you get a way to farm the acolytes, there's a way for them in the game to be available, then it's fine. The free-to-play model doesn't really change. Everything is available per se, okay? But if it's not there and people are forced into the trade market and forced to pretty much get platinum, no matter how you get it, whether you use it with cash or you grind your ass off and sell parts and all that, then that changes the way the model's been for the past 3+ years. Anyway, moving on. So, in general, the different missions that you had to do. The first 4 were all spy missions, easy to get through. The next ones were all fairly simple missions to get through. You could get through them depending upon your level. You could do them solo, you could do them as a group. I did everything as a public. I had some good missions, I had some bad missions, I failed a few times. You know, everything in general worked out, but it was available to pretty much everybody. There wasn't really a point where you couldn't get anything. Even with this endurance run for the Lazarus skin, it was cumulative. So every 5 waves, if you got out and went back in, it saved those 5 waves. So eventually when you got to 15 waves, you were going to get the Lazarus skin. So cumulative worked out well for players that maybe didn't want to do the long endurances, didn't want to last, 45 minutes, an hour, that don't see that as a need, or find it boring or anything like that. So they made it at least that you could participate. You had plenty of time to participate. You were able to get all of the different items, rewards, if you will, fairly easily, even doing them in a public mission. Cumulative on the endurance, which you could go A and B. Yes, it's good, and no, it's not good. Yeah, if you got a group of guys, you want to go an hour, you want to go 2 hours, go for it. Generally, at least it was made available either way, that you could do it either way. So, there's that. I went in it, of course, with my limited time. I just went in to have fun. I still haven't used any of these mods that I've gotten, and I don't know when I will. I have to look at them all. I know everybody's left me comments that this mod is great, this mod is great, this mod's good, this mod's bad, and I appreciate all that. I'll go through what I have. I didn't really get many. I got a lot of melee mods. Excuse me. Which I guess you could say is actually a good thing, because you guys know I do a lot of melee stuff, which is cool. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of mixed. I think that in terms of their events, based off the past 3 years, I would say this was probably the easiest to go through, least grindiest, if you will. And almost everybody is able to get all of the items. So I think on that respect, DE did a great job. On the other end, like I said, we go back to the mods. Will these mods be available post-event? Will the acolytes be available post-event? Which would be really cool to see them in other missions and that type of stuff. Because there's a way to farm it. As long as there's a way to farm it, it doesn't really matter, right? But if there isn't a way to farm these, and these affect future gameplay mechanics, and people are forced into either paying real money to get platinum to get these mods through the trade, or grinding and end up getting these mods through the trade, then there might be an issue. Because these mods, common mods, will go up in price well beyond what they would need to be anyway. People will, fix the market, and then we got some issues. So time will tell. I think overall it was fun. Go into the event, if you're going to be, when you get on the consoles, go into the event, just have fun. That's all you got to do. Just go in it to have fun. You go in it, you know, you're not going to really need to grind much. You're going to get the acolytes. The only issue is waiting for the acolytes to show up in the first section, in the first portion of the event, and finding them and getting them and grinding them as fast as you can. Of course, if you want to get through the missions, and the missions are fairly simple, 5 waves of a defense, and you could, you can get those. Or captures. They had all different types of missions, so not a big deal. I think, I don't know. You could go either way. I'm holding my breath on how these mods are going to be reintroduced into the game. I'm holding my breath on, are they part of the new damage system? And if they are, how is it going to work? So we'll see how that goes. And I know I said it about 3 times in the video, but that's the important part here. Volcar Wraith, disappointed in the fact that it's pretty much not even a side grade. It was a little bit of an enhancement. 2 shots in the magazine, a little bit more impact damage, but they took away the puncture and slash. Even though it was minor, they took away some of it. And it wasn't even a side grade. You couldn't consider it a side grade. It wasn't switched from impact to puncture. It wasn't, switched from impact to slash or something like that. It wasn't something like that. So overall, I would like to have seen some change. Something that made the Volcar Wraith a little more significant. I granted it easier to get, but I still would have liked to see it be a little bit more significant in the changeover, whether it be a puncture change or, something to that respect. Higher critical or higher status chance, bringing it up to 100% status chance, that type of stuff. Anything like that would have been welcome to make it much different. The Sarah skin is cool. If you got it, awesome. If you didn't, you didn't. It wasn't too hard to get, but, again, you weren't forced to grind for it. You didn't feel like, oh, I got to do it. And it wasn't anything too difficult. So, that's my thoughts, impressions, all that good jazz. Comments, questions below. I'll catch you guys in next episodes of whatever I come up with in my head. Until then, thanks for watching, listening, and I'll talk to you soon.